One is a mobile game spender. The other is a proud, free-to-play enthusiast. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. But with both having years of service under their belts, the one thing we are sure of is you will be entertained. This is the Escape Podcast, a weekly look into some of the best mobile games out there. This is the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes edition. Live from the Old Man's Private Reserve located within Vault 37, here are your hosts, Brian Kane and Daniel Logan.
Coming on this week's edition of the Escape Podcast. This is the Star Wars Galaxy Heroes edition. We have a new conquest toon, a new ship, and a nerf. Kane, you have really good fleets for free-to-play. Is this going to adjust your farm at all for the new TIE Defender?
I don't know, man. This might raise more questions than answers. And the lore is completely wrong. But I'll have a full kit reveal on this, and we can debate it then. What about you, old man? You always unlock the new conquest toon. How are you feeling about Admiral Trench?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the key word in his name, Admiral. So I just so happen to have a nice juicy take on this new conquest toon, but I'm still going to need a double shot of motivation to grind through conquest. After a much further deep dive of his kit, he might end up being left in the trench.
But old man, didn't you mention something about a nerf?
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but CG did it. We saw the writing on the wall. We all knew it was too good to be true. The great and powerful Traya will be nerfed. And all of us poor souls that put an Omicron on Traya will... Wait, be refunded?
I'm pretty sure Meathead said refunded.
Oh my, a refund. Well, with that being said, Kane, there's only one question I got left for you.
What's that?
After this is over, where do all those words go? All this and breaking news as and if it happens right here on the Escape Podcast. Going on? It's another episode of the Escape Podcast, aka the Old Man's Private Reserve. Here we are. What's going on, fellas?
Not much, buddy. How's it going?
I am absolutely psyched to be here tonight. We have a lot of news. A lot of stuff has come down the pipe. Oh my God. We have so much stuff to go through, and we probably don't have enough time to do it all. But let's jump right in with guys, we're in the midst of conquest, and we have a conquest toon, and his name is Admiral Trench. So,
dun dun.
Yeah, dun dun dun. So, I feel like we should kind of hit highlights of the kit. I mean, we're already in conquest. I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, you know this toon's kit. You know he's not GAC, he's TW. So let's do the typical questions of what do we think and what do we know. So, what do we know? Let's go around the room and Bob, let's start off with you with some of the things that we've looked at with the kit so far. What do we know right now about this toon?
We know that he's going to uplift the separatists. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, long answer short is he's just going to bring up Newt, Django. What was it when you guys went over in the Old Man's Cantina? It was non-droid separatists. Is that what he synergizes with?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So I think he's just another Mon Mothma, another Dash Rendar, another Iden Versio. I think he's just going to uplift these tunes, and they can make some money off of it. I don't know. What do you guys think, Kane?
I think that he's going to uplift the separatist teams. There was a lot of debate going on about, Watt having a permanent home here now. I I still think that Watt's going to be a jump around toon, but he's going to synergize very, very well with Trench.
Yeah, I think that his best spot will probably be there, but the team will probably still be good without him and can continue to move forward, and you can still use Watt somewhere else. But my guess is the optimum best team will involve Watt, but just like a lot of teams, you can pick and choose who you put there to even things out. What do you think, man? Old man?
Let me ask this question, because I think this question is very relevant to anybody that plays this game. Dependent on the GP level you're at, whenever a new toon or a new feature comes to the game, everybody has to ask themselves, what utility am I going to get out of this toon in the future? Is the investment worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is me grinding through 3 months of conquest? Is this worth it? And to be honest, at the GP that I'm at, I'm more of, and again, I'm not a great GAC player, but I love GAC. I do fully participate in TW. I do the best I can. The guild that I'm in, we hold our own. But this toon is just not, other than wanting to grab a can of Raid and spray him because he's a giant insect, I'm just not seeing, at least for me at my GP, I'm not seeing a lot of utility with this toon. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go through Conquest. I'm going to unlock him, but I'm with Riva, because if we look at it this way, some of the top guilds are going to be looking to unlocking Riva around the April timeframe, April, May. So now we have Trench. May, 3 months of conquest. He requires 3 Omicrons for TW. I mean, I gotta bounce the question back to you guys. Is what is this toon gonna do for your rosters where you're at? Because for me, I mean, he looks great. I mean, some of his stuff on paper seems outstanding, but for me, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not buying what CG is selling. What do you guys think?
I think he's going to be required. I think these last few releases are going to be a requirement for some legendaries, maybe a Galactic Legend. I think that Defender, TIE Fighter, it just screams requirement for something. Admiral Trench, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong because he's a Conquest character. Is there any Conquest characters required for GLs or legendaries? I don't believe they are.
Not that I'm
No, I
aware
haven't
of.
seen one.
I don't know. I don't believe there
So-
are. I think all
so I would-
characters have been kind of standalone.
I would say I would take that back then. I don't think he'll be required for anything unless they want to start doing that. Well, I don't know. Like you said, I don't think he is going to help you as much as he would help me or Kane, Admiral Trench, because I mean the separate, unless he's just going to do some insane stuff, encounter in some insane teams, or it becomes an insane defensive team. But the thing is none of us will know for another few months. So
Now, granted, unlocking Riva or even Dr. Afra, Bones, where you're at, you may be making some headway in that, but I really want to direct this question towards Kane. Kane, with where you're at with your GP and the guild you're in, a conquest toon which requires 3 Omicrons for TW, is this even something at your GP that's on your radar? Because I'm going to go out on a limb and say not only no, but censor. Hell no.
So
No.
no. Trench is on my radar mainly because he's a separatist, but no, he's not on my immediate. I'm not going to try and break the bank of crystals I got to get Trench.
Now, the next thing I want to ask, like Bob, for you, Are you red crating? Are you unlocking the new conquest character in 3 tries, or are you spreading it out to 4, maybe 5?
I never red crate. What I do is where I feel sufficient enough, where I did enough, is I just go through and I do all the nodes. I don't even 3-star them all. I just get through all the sectors, all the nodes, and then I'll spend the rest of my time farming datacrons. And so, like you said, I spread it out about 4 or 5. But it's only a month or 2 longer, and I get a really good character. So I'm fine at that pace. It's too much stress. It's too much whatever to make sure I get a red crate. So I've tried it. I've done it. And it's just worth, to me, like the enjoyment level of just toning it down and waiting another month. Because I'll buy the shards out of the supply section or something else. You know what I'm saying? I'll grind it if I really want it. But I just don't red crate. No.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of live by a philosophy in Conquest that I always buy the $9.99 pass every time. I red crate once, and then I go gold. Because if you buy the pass, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the character. Now, I go a little bit beyond the gold crate just before the red crate to get the extra Omicrons, but after that, I stop. I'm going to get this character, but I'm, at least where I'm at, I'm weeks away. I feel like I'm weeks away from unlocking Afra. That's going to require gear. The rest of the droids, Sana, that's going to require gear. Just Trench is just.
I was giving you 2 really good teams, a Sana team and an Afra team. Also,
it's like, you get a cake, and then you get the icing on the cake, and then whenever the cake is cut, everybody asks for the piece of cake with the icing and the flour. Trench is the flour.
See, I think they
I'm
could
just
change it.
not.
I think they could change that. I really do. After sitting back and hearing, his name for one, Admiral Trench, if they were to give him a capital ship or a ship, I would like to see a ship over a capital ship. But if they were to do that, I mean, yeah, it pulls malevolence out. But what kind of kit would they throw together for a capital ship for Trench?
See, and that was kind of the juicy take that I mentioned in the opening, is that CG could potentially pull a fast one. And, a lot of people may look at Trench, TW, Omicrons, I don't really need this. And then, bang, releases capital ship. Because while CG has released some interesting units in the past week, everything has really been kind of left field. And I mean, if they released a capital ship, what does that do with Thrawn's ship, or not Thrawn's ship, General Grievous's ship? There's not enough separatist ships out there to really separate and make 2 fleets. Not that that's stopped them before, but I mean, that's the key word, admiral. He's an admiral. So a ship is coming. Like, I would bet my bottom dollar that a ship is coming, but I don't know. There's nothing in his kit that's grabbing me. There's nothing. I think I have 1 TW Omicron, 1. That's on Dad Bod Boba. I mostly focus most of my Omicrons on GAC. And TW is just, unless it's like earth shattering, I'm just not seeing it. Now, this may change. 2 months from now, we may see a wall of trenches in GAC that have only Omicrons, and then I'm going to eat my words and go, oh, well, darn. I was an idiot.
Also, but don't forget that they could put like a Grand Arena Omicron on Newt or somebody else that works well with the Trench and Grand Arena, like a
That
Grand
is
Arena.
good.
You know what I'm saying? And like Newt could be awesome. He's already awesome. You put Omicron on for Grand Arena, and then that makes it viable in both sections. So they could go that way. I think they just did that, right, with Inquisitors, because they're mostly a territory war army team, correct? But then I think Riva has a whole bunch of Grand Arena Omicrons, so that's how you're going to make him viable on both sides. Is when you get.
Yeah, no, Inquisitors are. Yeah, no, all their Omicrons are for pretty much for TW.
And Riva's going to make them Grand Arena viable.
Yeah, no, Riva's going to make them Grand Arena viable. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's just too early to tell guys about Trench. Conquest characters are strange. They kind of just stay in their own area and don't really leave that area. They're usually really good. Not always, but for the most part, they're pretty good standalone. But only time will tell. But for some reason, I feel like he will be required for something. I know that's not a trend for Conquest characters, but it kind of just screams that.
So, Kane, for you, who's at a lower GP, you've been working on Conquest toons. Obviously, you may have other priorities. Cat, Razor Crest, Maul. Is this something that somebody at almost 5 million GP, is this a toon that should you even sweat this?
I wouldn't say to sweat it. What I would say is if you're at the early mid game level and you're sitting on 2 GLs and you're able to get the red crate, I would say that this is a toon that you can go for, but I wouldn't sweat that I have to have it. I wouldn't. I would kind of sit back, do your normal conquest. If you burn crystals, burn the normal amount of crystals. Don't push too hard to get Trench.
Isn't Dad Bod Boba? Didn't he have three TW Omicrons?
He did. I believe he did.
And he's my less desired, one of the worst. Like, I have no desire for him.
And
he
that's
is
what
kind
I'm
of crap.
afraid of. Like, on paper, Dad Bod Boba seemed so good. And then we got him. People applied Omicrons, went into TW. And, I mean, he's good, but he didn't perform as he was sold. And that's what makes me wary about Trench. I mean, honestly, I'll get him. I'll gear him up, but he's going to kind of be like a side project until, like, if a ship isn't announced for him, then absolutely. Relic 7, Relic 8, 6. Mods, the whole 9 yards. But until that announcement is made, where I'm at the end game at 10 million plus, I'm not being sold on this character. What about you, Bob? At 7 point something million, I mean, is this something you're going to go for? Or?
No matter what, it's down the road. It's I got Inquisitors, I got Afra, I got side territory battle platoon projects. I've got side Grand Arena off meta counters that I'm working on. So either way, I mean, no, not right now. Like you said, it's not someone that I think needs to be. Like when Malgus was announced, I was like, yes. When Star Killer was announced, I was like, yes. He wasn't Conquest. But Malgus, I was like, Malgus, Maul, and Cat. When I saw those three, I went as hard as I could because I knew they were good. And everyone else just seemed to. We're not getting that feeling from Trench,
And that's what I'm afraid of, because when Malgus was announced, everybody read his kit, including myself, and went, oh my God! Like, this is amazing! Yet, Now some time has passed, and people have figured it out. You see Amalgus in GAC. All right, I got some tools in the toolbox to deal with this. Trench, like it's. I mean, there are some, like, his basic ability. Like, he's got some decent stuff on his basic. Shock, stun. He's tactical supremacy, again, heal over time, protection over time, 10% for 2 turns. He's got some decent stuff on basic, but just on paper, honestly, let's go around the panel. Kane, let's start with you. GAC viability for Trench right now, go.
Considering the way that he's supposed to mesh with Watt, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he's not gonna be viable out the gate in GAC. I mean,
he's going to be a 6 or a 7 because I didn't even pay attention to the Omicrons. If it's not Grand Arena, I don't even pay attention. I don't have one territory war or territory battle Omicron. Now my guild's probably thinking, "What a hole," you know what I mean? Because I'm kind of being selfish, but I don't have one. So right then and there, it just kind of kills it. But I didn't pay attention to that to his kit, and I think you can do things with Watt and Newt just by yourself, just by themselves. So it's going to uplift them somehow in some way. So they're going to be better with Trench and the thing. So I think he's going to be viable with or without the Grand Arena. Is he going to blow your mind? Is he going to be countering Jabba? No. Then again, watch him end up doing something like that. I'm no theory crafter. I just click buttons until things go in my direction. But I think he'll be a 6 or a 7. I think you'll be surprised.
I don't follow. I don't follow because of Watt's synergy with C.
Yeah, and that's really the big issue. You're looking at a toon that is basically, I hate to put it this way, but he's a turd polisher. He's polishing off Django, Newt, Dooku, and these are toons that, while they may not, it's a turd polisher, but while these toons don't synergize well in their own cadre or their own team, they're useful in other places, like Watt, for instance. In GAC, how often do you put Watt with SCE? All time.
Yeah.
I just don't think the picture's finished yet. I think whenever we have these kind of conversations that I've had in the years past, we can't figure out like what they're thinking here. It all ends up making sense here in a couple of months. I think you're going to get some more characters that coincide with them somehow, and it's going to make sense. Or maybe some characters that take away from the other teams that you're thinking of, and it's all going to make sense. I just don't think we have all the pieces of the puzzle yet.
There could be more. There could be more. But it's just it's hard for me to look at a toon that doesn't have one GAC Omicron and be like, well, again, if it's TW, TW is one thing. People put Watt for different purposes for TW, but it's just, why am I going to invest these kind of resources when I primarily focus on GAC and put them into TW? Now, if testing out of the gate and he's godlike, that may be a different story. But for right now, on paper, I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it. All right, Kane, you got to break us off. Go ahead, man. Do your thing.
All right, you guys. So right after this break, we're going to deep dive into the new ship, the TIE Defender. Right after this.
Oh, yeah. Kane's reading us a kit.
Oh, yeah.
Are you like us and play more than one mobile game? Well, we have good news. The Escape Podcast has expanded its lineup.
There's the flagship Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes show every first and third Friday with Paul Anthony and the Nav.
And the Marvel Strike Force show on the second and fourth Fridays with Flair, Kyle, and Nick.
Join our Discord to stay up to date with these and our additional shows produced under the Nerdy Network flag.
Everything happens live on the Escape Pod Cast Twitch channel, or you can catch up on what you missed on our YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening to the Escape Pod Cast. Be nice to each other, damn it.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod Cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Pod Cast.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
You're listening to the Escape Pod Cast.
What's going on, folks? We are back. The Escape Pod Cast. Old Man's Private Reserve. And man, not only we get a conquest toon, but we got a new ship, folks. We got a new ship. I don't like ships. I'm not a fan of ships. I know the immortal one is.
Oh,
Pom
yes.
Pom left him some fleets. And
I think it's cool. Did you guys play the old X-Wing TIE Fighter games on PC?
oh my God, a long time ago. That was a back on DOS.
Yeah, I played him as a kid, and my dad had me on it. I loved him as a kid. So this comes from that. They even said in the notes it comes from that game. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Now, I will mention, the ship is out. It's a Galactic Chase. The Galactic Chase is actually out for a week, which is a little longer than usual, if I remember correctly. I was farming like crazy. I'm already almost halfway there out of 80, and it's only been a day. Like I don't know if it's just my drop rates, but they've been outstanding. But we did hear, with all the affection in the world, from the Hugh Hefner of content creating, Arnold, that there may be a nerf incoming already. That CG is looking into unforeseen issues with it up against Executor, because apparently, according to Arnold's playtesting, it's not just beating Executor, it's destroying it.
CG relies on these streams to know if it works or not.
You know, and like, God, CG, test your game. Test your game.
Yeah, it's better to buff something than nerf it, right? So maybe release it underwhelming, and if you mean for it to do a little bit better, then buff it, and everyone's like, "Yay!" But when you release it overpowered, and then you nerf it, that's when it looks bad. But do we know what is? It's I didn't watch the stream, but I'm guessing it happened so quickly that someone was watching the Arnold stream and saw, "Oh wow, this isn't good. We better get on this." Did you guys watch it? Do you guys know what was going on that made them?
I watched it. It was working a lot like the First Order ship, where it was just a solid. It was just a solid addition, and I mean, I didn't get to watch like the video in detail, but what I did see, yeah, it was handing the Executor its rear end, and it was fun to watch. It was like, wow, this ship like Merc stuff. It just you're just running rum shot right through it. Like you're just destroying it. So let's go through at least the strategy tips. Use it as a reinforcement. Get your stun out there as soon as possible. Long cooldown. Basic. Pew. Yeah, that was lame.
Oh no, I love that. I love that on the kit.
All right.
Meathead loves the troll. He's the master troller.
Yeah, Meatball is a troller. I know Xaereth calls him Meat Face. I'm gonna call him Meatball.
Can we get Meatbag? Any of my fellow Fallouters will know what Meatbag, or
would you like me to blast him, Meatbag?
Or Noob. We all love Noob, the cartoon. Meatbag. So I think that's what we should start calling him.
Meatbag? All right.
Yeah.
So abilities, basic, wingtip, L-S9.3 laser cannon, which apparently is the proper nomenclature for a laser cannon. So there it is. Final text, deal physical damage 3 times. For each critical hit scored, grant TIE Defender a stack of resilient defense, max 2. If TIE Defender has special forces, this attack has plus 50% critical chance and critical damage. That's dirty for an opening, for a basic on a ship. Yeah. I'll take that. Special 1. CLL-3 ion torpedoes, 4-turn cooldown. Final text, deal physical damage to target enemy, reduce their turn meter by 30%, and stun them for 1 turn. If TIE Defender has special forces, this stun can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. I'm just going to put this out there, fellas. You give me a ship that has an irresistible stun, and I'm just going to say thank you and have a nice day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to say thanks. I'm going to roll with that. Irresistible stun on a ship? Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah. You had me at irresistible. Unique 1, P-S7 9.7 twin ion engine. Final text. Whenever TIE Defender evades an attack, grant 10% turn meter to the allied capital ship and an additional 10% turn meter if TIE Defender has special forces. This effect is tripled for Empire capital ships. So let's examine that for a moment. Let's kind of look at that. Grants 10% turn meter to the allied capital ship, right? The effect is tripled for Empire capital ships. There's one thing Arnold said in his testing was the turn meter gains for this fleet were outrageous.
So doesn't TIE Fighter do something similar to that?
I believe it does. I would have to check the kit, but yeah.
That means you're trying to avoid TIE Fighter. You're trying to avoid this Defender. You're trying to avoid the TIE Fighter. Because if you're going to go for them, so you pretty much are forced to go for the tank, you know, or whatever else is going on. Otherwise, you're feeding turn meter the capital ship.
And while TIE Defender has special forces, whenever it evades an attack with foresight, gain critical chance up for 2 turns and dispel all debuffs on TIE Defender. Okay. Oh, and by the way, the TIE Defender counts as a TIE Fighter.
Yes.
What does that mean? What benefit does that give it?
I think I think that's in there if you ever ran it with the scythe.
Gotcha.
Because the scythe, you get all those stacks of
so it synergizes better with scythe.
I mean, it does, but it does, but it doesn't. I mean, I believe Arnold's testing was with Grand Admiral Thrawn's ship, if I remember, if I saw the video right.
Because if you're speeding up the capital ship, yeah, you'd want Thrawn because he gets that elimination.
Yeah, you get that ability. I mean, that ultimate, you're destroying a ship whenever he gets it off. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. A ship is being laid waste.
Yeah. And you know,
so we got
that's a good
TIE times 7. This is a paragraph. Final text. TIE Defender gains 10% evasion, 20% offense, 30% max protection. Whenever TIE Defender gains resilient defense, recover 10% protection. At the start of each turn, if TIE Defender has special forces and resilient defense, it gains foresight for 1 turn. When TIE Defender evades, it has special forces, recover 10% health, and gain 10% turn meter. Well, I'm starting to see where the turn meter train kind of. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, look how fast it took to break that. Like, they obviously did zero testing. Because it took someone, I don't know, an hour to figure out that it's all you got to do is take it with the scythe and whatever versus
It's like every ability that we've read so far, turn meter is being gained, and you don't see a lot of that in Fleet.
And I'm not the smartest guy. I can't take a kit and say, yeah, but I can read that and think, wow, that sounds almost broken.
All right, so we have a reinforcement. This is the last ability. Then let's go around the room and see what everybody thinks. Final text: Imperial TIE Fighter. See, censor. I almost said the S word. Imperial TIE Fighter allies gain foresight for 1 turn. Ally Empire ships gain 1 stack of formation, max 30. Till the end of battle or until TIE Defender is defeated and can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. Imperial TIE Fighter allies instead gain stacks of formation equal to the number of ally Imperial TIE Fighters. TIE Defender gains special forces until the end of battle. Now, this is for a reinforcement. I don't
know. I mean, if it's counter executor, obviously my thoughts are it's awesome. I haven't really saw any footage or anything. But bring it on. But it's about to get nerfed. We don't know what it's supposed to do. But obviously it's going to be a legit decent ship, no matter what they do, even if they nerf it. So it's obviously a ship you're going to want.
Yeah.
And when it becomes farmable, I suggest you farm it as soon as you can. When it becomes farmable, free to play, because it seems like every time they release a new ship, it's almost required for something, even if it doesn't make sense. Outrider has been required for 2 or 3 things now, even if it doesn't make sense lore-wise.
You can farm it right now. I already have shards.
Yes, but that will go away after a week, and then it won't be farmable for a while, right? And usually it's just a hard no. That's where it ends up being. But my mistake every time is I put it off, and I'm going to need it for something in the near future. So I would just expect that to be the case again.
Now it's funny that you brought up a nerf, because Arnold mentioned that, and it was put out by Meatball today about how this ship is having I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was stated that the ship is having unintended effects against Executor. Now,
which is beating it.
Yeah. So let's also bring up something that was brought up in the intro of Traya. Traya is now being nerfed. Everyone apparently is going to be refunded their Omicron. Whoever applied it is going to get refunded. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to want to put it back on or not.
I think I'm going to do it.
Is this a question of just CG not testing their game? I mean, is this why is this becoming a more constant thing? Like, why is this?
So a friend of ours in the chat here named Doofiend, he says, "Do you guys think CG's beta test program that got shut down due to someone breaking their NDA and leaking Datacron pics has some influence on these needs for nerfs?" That was a decent question.
I can't answer that because I don't know who they had for testers, how many testers they had, if they're still testing. It seems like they're not. Like they dropped.
Makes me think zero.
Yeah, they dropped the Traya Omicron and it destroyed Lord Vader. Yet when you read the text and how they nerfed it, it was specifically stated Dark Side Legends, which pretty much is you're not going to curb stomp Lord Vader anymore.
Yeah.
What they're talking about with this ship already out of the gate, which for those that say CG is not listening, you're wrong. They listen. They just don't listen to you. They're listening because they've been watching what's going on with this new ship, and it's beating Executor. And Meatball puts out a post at some point this evening and goes, excuse me, but sorry, this ship is having unintended interaction with the Executor, and we don't like it, so we may have to take your new toy away. Granted, that's not how he sounded. That's not what he said. I'm just being a jackass.
Oh, it's going to be his voice from now on for me in my head.
Is that going to be his voice from now on?
100%.
Is that what I'm doing?
He's going to sound like Kermit the Frog.
All right, so
Patrick Mahomes.
Hi-ho, this is Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm going to lose to Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship game. Hi-ho.
All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next week.
See, Bob, I knew that was going to get you. But again, is this... They're not test. Oh, he put on the hat.
So you have to.
They're always on my head, man.
They're not testing the game. Like, how do you? Like, I'm sorry. In my opinion, this is just me. I don't know anything about how to run a game company. But if it's one thing I do know, if you put out a new unit in a mobile game, the first thing you are going to test is how does it interact against the stuff that people have to pay for.
Yep.
So
that's 2 fleets. That's 2 fleets.
So
that's all they had to do is test 2 fleets. It's not like 6 GLs.
So you guys know how I am. I'm not gonna back CG on their testing program and what have you. Now I will say from an alpha and beta test observation point. You know, I've done a lot of alphas, I've done a lot of betas. Before they ever announce this ship, you're absolutely right. They should have done something a little bit more and tested it a little bit more. But once again, and I've brought this up many times, you cannot 100% test something until you implement it into the game. Now, you go through a beta test. If this doesn't break,
that's fair.
Then it's releasable. That's what a beta test is. You're looking for things to break. The alpha test is even worse. Everything breaks. If it doesn't break in testing and then you mass launch it, it's going to hit your code somewhere. It's going to. No matter, there's a loop, there's something in there that is going to trigger and not trigger what it's supposed to.
All right. So that being said, Kane, here's a question for you. At 4 to 5 million GP, 1 GL, you have been presented with 2 units that were able to deal with top units in the game. You had Traya, was dealing with Lord Vader. They nerfed it. Nothing like Meatball has not. Meatball has not put out anything 100% on whether or not this ship is going to get nerfed yet. So we're speculating. They may not. But if they do, at your GP, is this a kick in the nether region for you to compete in GAC with how your matchmaking has gone? I mean, they give, then they take away.
I mean,
you have an opportunity to beat LV. Now you don't. You have an opportunity to possibly beat Executor. Now you don't. Are you getting kicked in between the legs without so much of a hey, thank you?
My GP range, I would say yes. I would say yes 100%. Now, me personally, no. My Traya is, I want to say, year 11, year 12, and I can put the Omicron on her, but I didn't. And I didn't because I don't see a lot of I don't see a lot of Vaders, or I don't see a lot of Lord Vaders. So
I think you were smart. You read the writing on the wall. You saw where this was headed, and you said this, I think, a couple episodes ago, that this ain't gonna last long.
As soon as they announced that it was beating Lord Vader, no, I instantaneously know that's going to get hit. I knew that was going to get hit.
Beating him into the ground.
I mean, I'm completely free to play, but I don't enjoy having something I put a lot of time into, i.e. Executor or Profundity, getting smoked by a one marquee toon, or even 2.
That's true.
That's an interesting point, Bob, that I wanted to bring it to you. At your GP at 7-8 million, being free to play, you've put a lot of time, a lot of commitment. How do you feel about somebody at 4 million just, I'm going to put gear into this and smoke your rear end? How do you feel?
Yeah, I think that it's some things you have to put time into. There's a reason why we're working on, I mean, how many requirements per GL? It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And half of them are crap tunes. And I think those deserve to be up on a pedestal and hardly should be beat. A lot of people are going to disagree with me because that's not the free to play friendly way. Free to play players want something that's simple that they can get almost instantly and can beat everything. But that doesn't make it fun. That takes away the point of the grind. Why grind on my Executor that takes me 5 months, 6 months, when I could just grind something for 2 and just beat it? I mean, to me, that takes away the fun. This game is a marathon. It's a grind. You have to focus. This game isn't made for you just to get something instantly and beat it. I mean, unless you're a whale.
But does some of that balance itself out, considering how matchmaking for some people in lower GPs is still a mess? It still gives
that shouldn't be the answer. That should not be the answer.
Okay.
That's the worst answer. If that's their way of fixing it, then they need to find something else
So
to
I have
figure
to
out.
I have to bring this up. So big deal in chat. He said free to play people suck. All they do is bleep, and I'm funding it. You know, I'm not harping on him. I'm not even attempting to haze.
I think it's funny.
I'm saying he is making a very good point. Free to play players have the same abilities as people who pay. It just takes us longer. And yes, we do gripe and we do whine, moan, and complain about a lot of things, like the time that it takes us to get something that people who are paying can get almost instantly.
The game is a
I
business,
feel for you.
though.
It is. I feel for you, buddy.
Yeah.
But with it being a free to play game, you have to somehow throw in the same opportunities for free to play players.
But now
Just make it last longer.
Yes.
Always available to,
Yes.
but last long or take longer. Yep.
But now that you've mentioned that, before we go to our next break and bring on the incoming transmission, Bob, you brought something up about how the gear changes are going.
Yeah, so this is just a whole separate.
I think for free to play, I think the gear changes. I mean, I should not hear any complaints because I'm
about to complain. Spoiler alert.
Which is funny because I was about to say, even at like endgame, I mean, I'm about almost 10.3 million, and I'm sitting on like 13 full Carbantes, 10 full stun gun. Like, I've got like it's the gear 12 to 13 is now the bottleneck. How are you feeling about and Kane, you too, free to play guys? How are you feeling the gear changes?
So this gear change thing, it was like one of those campaigns that people make, like, I'm going to lower taxes, but then they hide a bunch of other crappy stuff in the bill that you don't know about. And then
every politician.
Yeah, that's what reminds me of is they were like, oh, look, we're doubling gear. Oh, we're doing something to help you out. And in very small parentheses, they never mentioned it again. Oh, also we're taking relics 50%, right? Like the conversion rate is 50% now. I didn't think much about that. I was like, oh, that won't be bad. Okay, you know how long it's going to take for you to catch up with that rate? Do you know how bad the drop rates are for gear alone? For any gear and all gear. We've said it 2 times 0 is always 0. So no matter how much more you're getting, the drop rates are so bad that it does not matter. You did not do anything. I'm not seeing a difference, but guess what? I'm seeing the difference when I'm relicking, because all I do is relic anymore. I mean, the gear 1 to 11 was never a problem for me in the first place. It's the gear 12 plus, which I'm not complaining about. I'm not complaining about that. But now I am complaining because when it gets to relics, dude, I'll sit there and just keep clicking craft on like 7,000 pieces, and then I go convert that, and I get like maybe 200 out of it, if that. And that's the low end ones. I'm having more problems with the low end relic. What are they called? They're not relic. What are the scrap? The relic scrap that you have to put your gear in. And I mean, it is. It's hurting me, man.
I feel
and
your pain.
eventually, all my hordes are going to be gone very, very quickly, and it's all going to be gone. And then I'm going to have to start manually farming stuff, and I just, it's going to catch up with us. And one day we're all going to sit there and think, oh my God, they just sucked all our gear away like that. But we had so much hordes of it that we still haven't noticed it yet. The ones that are like up where I'm at, even where Kane's at.
See, I feel your pain. See, I feel your pain.
And then I got a thought. So go ahead.
See, I feel your pain.
I want to say one more thing, though. I want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
It was a 90% nerf, 10% buff. There we go.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I completely agree with you. Dan, he knows about this. I hoarded so much gear, even after the hoard that Nev did. I hoarded and hoarded and hoarded, waiting for me to start relicking toons. I just did my first Relic 8, and my hoard has dwindled. I've been...
You're talking Carbanti, squirt guns, stun cuffs.
No, I'm talking the relic material.
See, that's not my question, though. What I'm talking about is Carbanti's, stun cuffs, squirt guns, the core gear, are those changes becoming more manageable?
Yeah, those are, I mean, up to gear 12, yes. Up to gear 12, yes.
You are not getting a change to the gear that you're talking about anytime soon. It's not happening.
Well, but I'm not wanting that. I just want my conversion rates a little bit better in Relic. That's what I'm leading up to. But it was all packaged in with the gear change, right?
Oh no, the conversion rates are up. Sensor, they're crap. I almost said the
So like I'm okay with the gear itself. And when I told you that I want to talk about it, maybe it was kind of misleading. Where the actual gear part is fine. It's better, but it was never a problem for me. But it was packaged with it, like I said, like one of those bills that look good, but they sneak all that stuff in underneath it. And that's what that relic stuff is. It's that crap that like, whoa, we're paying for it. And kind of like those bills. But you don't notice that you're paying for it until 3 years later, and you're paying the next president for it when really it was the last one. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing.
That's why CG dangles these little packs in front of you of the Gear 12 plus of 10 to 50 or 15 to 25, the gambling packs, and they want you to buy those and stock up on stuff. That's where they get you. Like the core gear of Carbanti's, stun cuffs, and all that crap is a thing of the past. Now it's all the newer gear. So it's like those packs I pay more attention to see if they're worth the value, because right now I don't have to farm Carbanti's, stun cuffs, squirt guns, or those comm links. You just get them. Now it's a question of I need to focus my time on Pyrotech and the gear 12 plus. Like that's the stuff. And for somebody, and I'm sorry, it's not even my GP level, any GP level. And I think this happens to a lot of players. And real quick, before we go to break, I want to know if you guys agree or disagree. There are a lot of players now that because of life, work, things that are going on, they bypass raids. Do your raids. Place in a raid. You may get a full piece of Gear 12. You may get one, but you have to commit. You may strike out, but you got to commit to the raids. And I've been guilty of that. It's a raid. To hell with it. I'm not going to do it. And then I'll do one, and I'll get a full piece of Gear 12 Plus and go, oh my God, that's amazing.
Especially the Sith raid for sure.
Especially the Sith raid.
Oh yes. And I'm one of those people. I work a lot, so I miss the raid from time to time. I won't deny it.
I just need some Athacam med packs. Those are my bane of my existence. The Athacams or whatever they're called. And you only need 20 for a piece, but I never have.
I can't say enough about the gear changes. I just don't have to worry about Carbanti's anymore, which is so nice because I hate those things so much. And that being said, folks, we are going to head to break. When we come back, we have one of the best content creators in the game right now. If you haven't heard of him, then man, you need to crawl out from underneath your rock and
just quit the game.
Yeah, just
quit it.
We've
just kidding, don't.
The only Xaereth. He runs 2 accounts. God bless him. Don't know how he does it. I wish I had that. I don't know how he does it. He is outstanding at GAC. We're going to be talking to him right when we come back in the next segment of the Escape Pod cast.
Pod in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod. Cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including after-show access, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Back to school. The Escape Pod, cast for kids. It's really cool.
Hello there, Padawans, and welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Thad and the Escape Podcast for kids. Today, we're going to talk about a character that many of us knew was coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Today, my friends, we're going to talk about none other than the multi-legged separatist menace, Admiral Trench, and where he fits in the Star Wars canon. Admiral Trench was a male harch, a humanoid, spider-like species born on the planet Secundus Ando, who served as Admiral in the Separatist Navy during the Clone Wars. He was a brilliant strategist and tactician, and was known for his ruthlessness and cunning. He was a feared enemy of the Republic, and was responsible for many of the Republic's defeat during the war. In fact, Admiral Trench was only outmastered by two military minds, the obvious one being General Anakin Skywalker, and the lesser-known defeat to General Major Weeblo Zap Brannigan. No one doubts Admiral Trench's brilliance later in his career. He was amazing. His tactics and his abilities rivaled only those of Grand Admiral Thrawn. But Trench was not always the cunning military mind and the leader that the Separatist forces needed. Some people may not know this, but when Trench was just a spiderling, he was stationed at a military base on Tarantulan 6. Due to a lack of defensive strategy, the base was overrun by Brannigan, and the ancestral home of the Harch people was plundered. Not one to take loss lightly, Trench dedicated his life to the study of the martial, military, and culinary arts. He grew to become the most brilliant strategist the Separatists had ever seen, and rose quickly through the ranks and through the Separatist Navy. He was eventually promoted to the rank of Admiral and was given the command of the Separatist Navy blockade of the planet Christophsis. Trench was a master of psychological warfare and was able to outwit the Republic forces of Christophsis. During the blockade, he was able to demoralize the people of Christophsis by preventing aid from being delivered and interfering with their holonet transmissions, and so to only permit women's curling to be broadcast on all channels. He was able to use his knowledge of the planet's terrain and the Separatist superior numbers to his advantage, and was able to keep the Republic forces at bay. He was able to use his knowledge of Republic tactics to anticipate their moves and counter them. Trench was also a master of deception. He was able to use false transmissions and other tactics to confuse the Republic forces and keep them off balance. He once disguised himself as Jedi Master Yaddle for a period of 6 standard years to learn the secrets of the Republic and the Jedi. He was able to use this knowledge of the Republic tactics to anticipate the moves and counter them. Trench was eventually defeated by the Republic forces on Christophsis, but he was able to escape and continue to fight in the Clone Wars. He was eventually killed in a battle on the planet Anaxis, but his legacy as a brilliant strategist and tactician live on. And with that, let's take a look at his kit in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and see how it matches with what we know from him from canon. Admiral Trench is a cunning, dark side separatist leader who supports his allies with potent buffs and ruins his foes with deliberate debuffs. A brilliant tactician and a cunning fleet commander, Trench will be a benefit to his separatist troops on whichever battlefield he fights on. Trench's basic ability is less to do with the fact that he carries around a stun staff and more to do with the fact that he's a walking, talking, calculating spider the size of a normal human. If that doesn't shock and stun you, then you must be living right, because that scares the bejesus out of most people. The Admiral's only special ability is called Net Positive and actually references something that the Heart people are quite excellent at doing: weaving. Now, you may not know this, but spiders have 8 legs. 8. That's an insane amount of legs. At least 6 more than it is actually needed. 7, if you have a good prosthetics guy. But as a species with an absurd amount of limbs, the Heart people have become excellent at weaving and loom work. They are capable of creating silk napkins, tablecloths, draperies, and exquisite tapestries, all from a durable silk they shoot out of their butt. Earlier, I said that Trench was like unto Grand Admiral Thrawn, and while I would like to say that Thrawn is leaps and bounds beyond the skill of the Arachnid Admiral, we must take into account who defeated each. Trench was outsmarted, twice, but by General Skywalker, the Force's chosen one. Thrawn was taken down by a bunch of space whales in a Space Aladdin. And while I love Thrawn, Ezra Bridger is no Anakin Skywalker. Finally, Admiral Trench's last ability is simply just a statement of fact. Fear smells amazing. Sure, at first, fear can smell like a roasted fart fermented in old sweaty socks. But if it's allowed to mature and ripen, fear smells amazing. Well, that's it for me, folks. Stay tuned next week for more story time with Uncle Thad and the Escape Podcast for Kids.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Podcastaways wants you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Podcastaways, all for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
You're listening to the Escape Pod Cast.
And we are back, folks, the Escape Pod Cast, and I am pleased to bring in Xaereth. Xaereth Prevails, his YouTube channel. If you don't know who Xaereth is and you play this game, then I don't know what to tell you. Like you need to branch out. Like you need to like check YouTube and do stuff. But
yeah, I agree, because when I know how to beat something or how to use a team, Xaereth's the man I go to. So
oh my god,
go check him out.
Yeah, if there's a battle or something I don't need to do when I Google it, I see Xaereth's face, and there he is, and he goes, "Hey guys, you should
He's here
and not do this.
He's
And if
right
you
here.
do this, you're stupid, and you should do this." And I'm like, "Yes, that's the man."
I'm still
So,
learning
anyways,
counters.
Xaereth,
I'm
what's
still
up,
learning
buddy?
counters, and I get my counters from Xaereth.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is fun.
No, we are beyond thankful to have you here. Xaereth, for those that don't know who you are, which may be one listener out of whomever we may have, where can people find you? What is your GP on both your accounts, and what got you into content creating?
Sure. So you can find me on YouTube. Just search Xaereth, Xaereth, and my channel should come up. You can search for me on Twitch as Xaereth Prevails. That's where I do all my live streaming, and then so I have two accounts. My main account is, it's real close to, is it 11 million GP? It sounds so much, but it's because of all the ships, guys. I'm blaming the ships. That's what it is. It's not like I've been spending money or something. No, there's certainly money involved. But my alt is actually keeps ballooning out too. My alt is about 8.2 million GP, and I only have 2 Galactic Legends on that thing, and it's a struggle to keep in Kyber 2, but I'm clinging on for the most part. So Squish is breaking us down slowly.
But you've been doing well with that alternate account. I've heard you on the Gambit podcast that you've been taking on accounts that are sitting on 4 or 5, even 6 legends, and you've been handing them their rear end, like you've been beating them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens. I mean, that's part of the joy of that account is,
Right?
like all the off meta. I made the account initially. It was just like a ticket alt, and then I was like, this is boring. Like no one's, I was just like in some like dinky guild. It was like, man, no one's even doing anything in territory battle. I gotta go. So I found a better guild, and I turned it into a more competitive thing. But the idea was, I wouldn't have initially. I was like, I'm not gonna have any Galactic Legends, 0. We're just going to counter everyone who has all the Galactic Legends. We'll do what's called like big game hunting, and so that was the original plan. And then CG did put out a few releases. We don't need to go like super into all that, but it was rough. And I have a couple GLs, and I'm working on Jabba now, so I'll I'm kind of bending a little bit, but the idea is, I think what I'll do is just say, all right, at some point I'll keep farming GLs, but I'm only going to have a certain number of them on offense ever. Like I'll limit myself to 1 or 2 on offense or something, and we'll just use off meta anyways.
All right. So we're in the midst of Conquest right now. Everybody loves Conquest.
Love it.
The new toon, Admiral Trench. So let's Xaereth, I kind of want you to go around the panel here. Kane is about 5 million, 1 GL. Bob is 7-8 million, couple GLs. I'm about 10.3 million, all the GLs. Who should go after Trench and why? And is the juice worth the squeeze?
It's such a tricky question, honestly. Trench is really baffling. Like there's a lot of guilds who are like, well, we got to be ready. Like everyone's better have 3 Omicrons ready when he's released, just in case he's good. But a lot of guilds are pretty skeptical, and I'm fairly skeptical as well. Like there's always like this disconnect, right? Like I talk to with my GP and the nature of my channel and everything. I tend to talk to a lot of really competitive players, so I'm kind of plugged into that territory war community, even as I don't take territory wars personally like super seriously. I've been trying to do better with that, to be honest. But everyone is in disagreement right now. No one knows whether he's going to be good or not. And I'm not that sold. Like, what does he have to do to be able to fit in? Like, he has to be one of your top 8 teams for defense, like, or offense. Right now, I don't see it, frankly. Even with the Omicrons, like he's gonna have to he's either gonna have to defend as well as some kind of level thing like Malgus or something like that, or he's gonna have to attack and kill very efficiently some galactic level legend teams, and I just don't see it right now. So I don't know. I'm like, you should probably try to unlock him, but if you're going for datacrons, which is the thing that I would say in general is the thing I would advise getting from Conquest, try to get Red Crate while you're farming your datacrons, and you're good. Then at least you have him.
Is taking Watt or Newt off any other possible GL counters or any counters you may have, is that worth it? Because it really looks like, especially with Django and Watt, those seem to be the two toons that Trench really needs to be successful. Now, while Django may not be the end-all, is-all of what you need to pull away, but Watt, that's a tall order. What are your thoughts on that?
It is a tough ask because it'll diminish your other counters for sure, and I think the question you need to ask, like a lot of people, I just put out a video about how to use the Maldalorian team, with Maul Mandos, and a lot of people are like, well, you need Django, and you're gonna need Django and Watt for this Trench team. So this team doesn't even exist anymore, really. Like it's already gonna be destroyed, and I was like, well, Maldalorians kill like almost every galactic legend out there, actually. Like if you really pay attention to their modding and how to play them, they're already countering all that stuff. Like Trench is a lot of work to steal those from the Maul team. I don't really think that, it doesn't seem like he's got legs. Like it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, that's a tough sell for me, man. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, good point.
Kane or Bob, what do you got for Xaereth about the new ship, about the TIE Defender?
Well, just like we were talking earlier, just add to the conversation. Like, what do you think about them already nerfing it after less than 24 hours in the game? It might be a little bit over that, but
well,
what do you think about them already nerfing it?
We don't know yet.
I had a good long laugh. I just put out a video today. I've recorded it last night, saying like, well, Traya just got nerfed, of course. And it was like CG, like we didn't know that Traya would beat Lord Vader. I'm like, that's the first thing I thought of. Like this is preventable. Like there were a ton of players who were on the beta team, testing team, who could have found this. They used to do this, and so I was talking about that on my video. I'm like, this was something you guys could have known. This is something that any competitive player would have been able to tell you. And what it tells me is that none of the people who are making decisions on the kit are necessarily like in the top level, guilds or whatever. Because I'm not like the best theory crafter ever. Like I'm good at certain aspects of the game, of course, but like even I realized like, oh, Traya looks awesome against Lord Vader, like so easily researchable. And the same thing for this. It was like they're like, oops, we didn't know it would be one of the top fleets in the game. Like we had no idea. Like
there's only 2 to test against.
Yeah, like how do you not know this? Like, did you just test against Finalizer or something? Like, what was your intent here? Like, what was going on? And like the level of shock that's they're like, we had no idea. I don't know how you had no idea. Like it's your own damn fault. But
and that was the thing, like, because apparently according to the Hugh Hefner of SWGOH, Arnold's latest video, he put out that it was beating exec, and he didn't like his first attempt. He smoked Executor. He beat it out of the gate, first attempt ever. And it's like, how are you not testing your game? One person did not put this fleet together and put it up against the top meta of the game and go, all right, we need to protect our investment. Does this beat it? And it does. Out of the gate.
Right. Well, so I'm all about that off-meta stuff. That it's like, well, if you work hard at it, like you put a few extra relic levels here, you mod things. Obviously ships are a little different, but like, if you finagle things enough, I'm all about like, all right, you have an 80% chance to win. Like you're still playing with that RNG. Like off-meta is fun like that. It's a little bit of a gamble, and so usually it pays off. Sometimes if you know what you're doing, but Like, the thing that makes me laugh about this whole thing is like, they're like, oh my gosh, this is beating the meta. And it was like, well, the Executrix, you didn't know this apparently, CG, but the Executrix has been beating Profundity for months now. Like, anyways, without the Scythe, without the Tide Defender. And they're like, hey, we got some new stuff for your fleet that's already beating the best fleet in the game. And I'm like, we didn't need to. Like, we're already beating the best fleet in the game. Like, why do we need you? Like, go play with Chimera, even though you guys suck with Chimera. Like, all right. I don't know. I'm baffled, honestly. Like, why do we need them?
So for those mid game players that are going to be refunded their Omicron investment on Traya, obviously they put in the nerf, and it's blatantly obvious that the nerf was designed to not counter Lord Vader. Is the Omicron on Traya still a worthy investment for mid to maybe semi late game players?
I mean, absolutely. I think it's going to be great. I think people are going to be sad, of course. Like, they let us play, you know, like they're like, hey, go forth and slay Lord Vader. Like, of course, everyone wants that. Everyone wants that button, even if you don't face Lord Vader all the time, because at the lower levels, I don't think that's as much of a thing. But like, just having that security of blanket of just like, oh yeah, if I learn into Lord Vader, I can win. So that's gonna suck. The thing that people are gonna realize is that Malgus is just as GL, like, he's as scary as a GL in a lot of circumstances, and Traya's gonna beat him like a rug, like she does already. So
yeah.
You know, like I think, yeah, it's diminished for sure. Are you getting as good a value? No, absolutely not. But I do think, like, there's gonna be important things, and that Omicron is going to help you get there. So yeah, I think she's still great.
All right, let me open it up to Bob and Kane. What questions do you guys have for Xaereth about any of the new news, tunes, or anything else you may have?
So how did the Traya Omicron affect you? I know you made some videos on it whenever you were doing GAC, but I saw the frustration. It was a slap to a lot of people. It really was. But just your teams and how you play.
So I mean, the final week of 3v3, you know, I was in the top 3 group, you know, like I was number 24 on the leaderboard, and so. You know, facing these really good guys, and they all 3 of them. So I placed Lord Vader. People were struggling against my Lord Vader all the way up till then, even with Traya. 2 of them beat Lord Vader with max banners. 1 of them failed against it, and that was you know, to me, like, at the levels that I was playing against, like the people who have all Relic 9 everything, you know, like I have 11 million GP, and these guys just like they have like 1.5 million more than me, you know, like just crazy relics more than me. Like just you know, you think 11 outrageous. Like, you know, no shade on them, of course, but like but also married to skill. Like, these guys are also really good players, and so you know, the fact that I know it was a small sample size, but you know, when I used him or used Traya, against Lord Vader, I also didn't have a perfect record. Like, at some point, that Omicron stopped being 100% anyways. Like, if you put enough relics on Lord Vader, like, he started getting fast enough to be able to beat, you know, to fight back against Traya, and actually, like, you just time her out. So, like, my experience was, it was nice to have a guaranteed way to kill the ads, but she already kind of did that anyways beforehand, and now she'll still kill the ads. You know, I just yeah, I used her sometimes, but because it wasn't a guarantee, I had to have other ways to kill Lord Vader anyways. So I guess to me, this isn't as big of a blow as it might seem.
Bob, what do you got?
Mine's a little more about the content creating side. I'm always interested in everyone's stories and everything. I don't even know your story. Like, what got you into content creating and got you where you're at now?
Oh, sure. I kind of didn't answer that before. It's not a secret, though. So actually, when I first, The first mobile game I played that was Star Wars was, and I'm a big Star Wars lore guy. Like I've read all the books, all the Legends books, and some of the new stuff. And I've always been really into Star Wars in general. So I got into Star Wars Uprising, and it was cool. Like it was actually canon. It was a story it was like a massively multiplayer online kind of mobile game. It wasn't exactly like that, but like it told a story that was canon. It was really cool, and it eventually shut down. They didn't monetize things very well. Like I played free to play and still stayed, in one of the top guilds, etc. Hold on. Okay, my sound turned on here for a sec. Okay, so, so what I realized when I was done with that game, when it was done, when everyone had just like washed away, I had nothing. I had a few screenshots, and I was like, I don't remember this game hardly at all. So when I started Galaxy of Heroes, I started just making some videos just to like remind myself, like just as a personal like repository of like, if I have fun memories of this, like I want to be able to relive them. And at some point, someone in my guild was like, I can't beat this thing. And I'm like, oh, well, I have a video of that I just like record. Like, you want to see it? And they were like, oh, this is great. This actually worked for me. And I was, after a while, I took over the territory war officer gig and started, like really putting out a lot of like just videos for my guild, showing them how to counter stuff. And GAC started up, and I was like, all right, well, I'll start recording all of these. And one thing led to another, and I, started putting voice over it. And it just kind of snowballed a little bit. I remember the first time I made a GAC video and I did a voiceover. I had to sit there for like 2 hours and psych myself up for it. I was like terrified of trying it.
Same. Yep. So, sorry, excuse me. At what point did things kind of start going? You're like, wow, I'm actually getting a lot of people watching. I'm kind of, I know a lot of us are kind of humble, but you're kind of becoming a big deal. When did you start noticing that happening?
Gosh. Well, I mean, and I'm not like the biggest channel out there, of course. There's a lot of big channels and a lot of channels that do better than me, even though they may have fewer subs. So, that being said, I think the first time I really felt noticed at all was like I'd maintained this counters sheet that had links to all my fights in GAC and stuff. It was a lot of work and everything. I was hoping it would be a good resource and a good way to draw people to come see it. And what ended up happening was Cubs fan Han's brother, his name was The Senate, I think. He was doing streaming for a little bit, and he found it. He found my channel and showed it to Cubs, and Cubs had me on his channel. And that was when I felt like I don't know if I wouldn't say I made it or whatever, but like
I know what you're saying.
It was one of those moments. I was like, wow, like the video that he made with me in it had more views than I had on any of my videos by a huge margin. So that was
I think that's awesome, man. Cubs fan is one of the OGs. He's a legend. R.I.P. because he's gone. But
when he stepped down, I was sad. I was legit.
Like the thing about Cubs, like a lot of people will be like, they'll say certain things about him. They, not necessarily all the nicest sometimes. And I'm like, from my standpoint, I was really sad that it failed for him. Like he represented hope for me. I'm like, oh, I could do this professionally. Oh, well, Cubs isn't. Like, if he can't, then I don't know if I can. And I'll always owe him that, though. He gave me a ton of subs, got me a ton of attention with that one video, and really, really escalated my channel. It would have taken a long time to get those subs naturally. So, and nothing but respect for him for sure.
Well, I've noticed Go ahead. I would say I've noticed in the content creator culture, you find them, they're more humble and nice than you think they are. A lot of people like to help out other content creators because the same did that for them before, and it's happened to me. Paul helped me out, Paul and Neb, on the Escape podcast, and my stuff's grown and stuff. So yeah, I know what you mean. And going back to what you were saying about wanting to look back, on your times with games. It's so funny you said that because one of my driving forces was like when I'm gone, my kids could at least go back and watch me hours of me playing and raging and stuff like that, or my family or anybody. If they want to go back and remember me, they can literally watch me for hours just doing whatever, because they don't watch me now. So hopefully they'll watch me when that time comes.
That's a good legacy to have.
I have 4 kids, and my youngest is 14, and they watch me, and they're like, "Dad, you're such a nerd." And I go, "Okay, all right."
And then they'll turn on somebody screaming as loud as they can playing Minecraft or something. One last thing for me is, if you could have any character that's not already in the game, who would you like that to be?
Oof, good question.
I mean, that is a good question. I think so. I'm always super into the Star Wars lore and stuff. One of my favorite book series that it's not canon anymore, it's legend, is the X-Wing Rogue Squadron series. And the main character from it is named Corran Horn. He ends up being a force sensitive, but he's also an X-Wing pilot, and he's kind of a badass. He does a lot of cool stuff, and one of my favorite characters, one of my sons is actually named Corran, actually. So
okay,
big fan, and actually Corran Horn is in the Star Wars in canon now. Actually, you guys saw the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You know that little kid who they're trying to get away to they're trying to smuggle him away from that planet, the mom and the little kid.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So in the credits, his name is Corran. So and he's from Corellia. They're getting him to Corellia. He's canon now. So I would want him.
Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool.
I mean, it's super deep in the lore. But so is Dash Rendar. So you never know.
Hey, we need some more ships, man. I'm down.
Yeah. Well, all right, folks. I want to thank you, Xaereth, for coming on. If you don't know who he is, you're living under a rock. He has his own podcast with Solo Base 15, the Gambit podcast. If you haven't checked it out, you're missing out, because if you want high-end news and what's going on in the game, check out that podcast. He's also with Celiac Sarah on YouTube with Crate Expectations, another great show. And of course, Xaereth Prevails on YouTube. He goes over some of the latest and greatest news in SWGOH. Check him out. He is outstanding. He's the man. He's changing the algorithm. That's what he's doing. Xaereth, I've been watching you before I even started doing this nonsense, and here I am, and I'm here talking to you. So I immensely appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on and chatting with us. It has been a pleasure. We'd love to have you on again. And Bob, Kane, end it out. Say thanks. There it is. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. No, we appreciate you, man. We really do, and hopefully we can have you on again and talk to you some more, buddy.
100%, guys. Really great meeting some of you. Thank you so much for getting me on your show. It was fun. I'm sure I'll hear from you again. We'll hear from each other again. We'll get, hopefully, I'll see you around. We'll get to do the chance.
Hopefully,
to do this
I don't have
again.
to play again. I don't want to play again, man. My video literally says on YouTube, I get smoked by Xaereth. That was my YouTube.
All
right, man.
Time for that.
Any parting words? Any parting words for the audience?
Oh man, don't hate me too much. I was thinking of this when you guys, you guys were talking about free to play. So I had a question. How do you know if someone's free to play?
Tell you about it.
Don't worry, they'll tell you.
Ask them for
It used to be cool.
Ask them for their social security number and check their bank statement.
Maybe my alt is mostly free to play as well, so no shade at all. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you, man. We immensely appreciate it. Rock on, brother. You're doing awesome things.
Appreciate that, guys.
All right, guys. Next up, we have Patreon's Choice, and we're just going to talk about some random stuff, answer some questions. If you guys want to highlight if you want to ask a question for us to answer, highlight it in the stream. However you do that, I'm not sure. Channel points.
I may not answer it correctly, but I will answer it. Gosh,
we need questions.
That's
Come on,
right.
and also Patreon's Choice in the this one. So we'll see you guys in the break.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod. Cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
The Escape Pod Cast News.
Greetings, Padawans. This is your MSF Edition team with a Pocket Dimension-sized update.
Wait a second. Where's Kyle? Did he get sent through another portal like last week?
He must have, but I heard Bob was in this dimension, so maybe it's a Nexus multiversal equivalency thing?
There's no time to explain. Come on, we got news to talk about.
Okay. We've been busy collecting symbiote samples and red envelopes to wrap up this month for some well-earned rewards.
Did you actually know the Lunar New Year event is 6 days and not 7, like what it actually says in the blog post?
Flair, Scopely math governs this dimension. Here, 6 and 7 are about the same thing.
Anyways, Crucible changes are live, and boy howdy, it's a whole new landscape. There's high-powered Wakandans reigning supreme, barriers and revives all over the place, spiders going under stealth.
I mean, you could say it's a veritable multiverse of madness, eh?
You think you're so funny.
Yes, I do. Anyway, Rogue is back, and she's bringing the punches in her Scourge event. Hope your young Avengers are up to the task to bring the second Horseman to your roster.
I should actually have Rogue at 7 stars after this time around. Don't you just love the Scourge cycle?
It really is much better than what they were doing before. With the exception of my young Avengers could just survive Node 5.
Regardless, we'll go back to blitzing our minds out, collecting samples, and coring it away.
Yeah, I was about to say, this pocket dimension seems to not last very long, and I do not want to be stuck here and have to talk about Clone Wars Chewie.
Nope. Let's get out of here before that happens. Goodbye for now, folks. See you guys next week on the MSF edition of the Escape Pod Cast.
Padawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena tracking bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Are you like us and play more than one mobile game? Well, we have good news. The Escape Podcast has expanded its lineup.
There's the flagship Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes show every first and third Friday with Paul Anthony and the Nav.
And the Marvel Strike Force show on the second and fourth Fridays with Flair, Kyle, and Nick.
Join our Discord to stay up to date with these and our additional shows produced under the Nerdy Network flag.
Everything happens live on the Escape Pod Cast Twitch channel, or you can catch up on what you missed on our YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app.
Thanks for listening to the Escape Pod Cast. Be nice to each other, damn it.
You're listening to the Escape Pod Cast.
And we are back. My goodness, what a great guest. Man, having Xaereth on, that was a treat. That was good. That was outstanding.
Yep.
So for Christ's sakes, I don't deal with the production nonsense. What do we got going on now? Like you're eating up valuable drinking time on a Friday. What are we doing now?
So now
we
we
just
have
talk about stuff and answer questions.
Yeah, we have the patron's choice, and we're also going to go to chat for any questions that they might have for us. That's what
What's
we're
up,
gonna
chat?
do.
Give us something to work with here.
Yeah, come on,
Yep.
chat. Got a question? Ask it. We may be able to answer it, and if we don't, you will be at least. Are you not entertained?
So
Are you not entertained?
I'm gonna start.
My
I'm
name
gonna
is
start us out.
Maximus Decimus Meridius. I love that movie, by the way.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Other than Alien, one of Ridley Scott's finest.
Yeah.
Yes.
I could watch that over and over again. All right, Kane's got a question for us.
So, and I'm gonna butcher this. I know I am. So I'm gonna come up with a name for you. I'm gonna call you Salacious D. Salacious D.
Dumber. We all know Dumber.
Yeah. Y'all can refer to him as Dumber. I'm gonna refer to him as Salacious D. Mainly because I'm a huge Tenacious D fan.
And
Salacious B. Crumb. Salacious D. Crumb.
Are you into the hard?
Fair.
Yeah. Censor.
So
Anyhow.
So Dumber asked, when you're grinding characters, do you enjoy a slow and easy grind, or do you prefer a fast and hard approach? And Bob's losing.
I don't.
Bob's losing it.
That's.
I like a mixture of both. You know, I like to start out with a, long, slow grind, and then I get tired and I'm ready to go to bed. So I just, I go a little bit faster and I just start spinning cores, blowing cores, and finishing my job on my grind.
When the wife wants to go to bed. Oh shit. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yep,
See,
and you're still going.
I did it. All right. So, you know what? I'm gonna totally contradict what I'm saying. I had a bunch of crystals hoarded up, a bunch. I had about 27K, and I dumped a lot of it. 000 is now 6-star. The other murder droid is now 6-star, and they're both about 30 of 100. So that's where a lot of my crystals went. I relicked up a couple people. I relicked up Bougie Leia. So apparently, according to my game habits, I like it fast and hard, and then later I like it slow.
So you're the opposite of me then. All right.
Yeah.
So that's
this
about
conversation is becoming more and more awkward.
so that's about how I am.
I don't need to know how you are.
I'm not really a fan of the slow grind. I like to be able to.
Yeah.
Well,
You
no,
don't like romance.
I like
You
that.
just
I
wanna
like to be
get
able to
in
get.
there and
I
get
like to
off,
be
go
able
to
to get
bed.
in there. I like to be
You're
able
one
to
of
get in
those
there,
guys that
mix
go with
things
the
up,
romance.
get what I
I'm gonna
need, and
in
get out.
there. I'm gonna thrust it 5 or 6 times like a 16-year-old.
Easy. Like I said,
I didn't say anything explicit.
I don't have a problem with the slow grind here and there. But like if I'm farming a conquest toon, I have no problem whatsoever with a slow grind. Now, other than that, whenever I have characters that are already 7-star, they're already gear 12, I put a lot of time in them. and then the gear changes happened.
I feel like there should be some Boys to Men baby making music going on right now. Like we should have like a backup music going on. Like we should have some Barry White. Oh baby, like we should just
trying to sing a song, but I don't know anybody.
But so we do have some questions from chat. So Master Lord Luke. So what's everyone's wave count for TB so far? Now I'll actually start that one off because mine's gonna take a minute. I don't really control the waves or keep track of the waves for my guild, but Jack is in the chat, and Jack can definitely give me an answer for that, and I'll be able to relay it to everyone. That is Jack's in my guild. He handles a lot of that stuff a lot better than I do.
I'm a bit of a lazy TB player. Like I kind of wait, and like I don't like in the first phase. I don't really have to do missions. I don't feel like because I'm like we're at 480 million GP, so just deploying, we're gonna 3-star the first 3 sectors. So I feel like the wave count for me isn't fair because the first sector I don't really sweat. Like so yeah, I feel like that's unfair. But for you guys, that may be more relevant for what he's asking.
I don't know if you're wanting to know the new territory battle. My guild does the new one, and then light side, and then goes, back and forth. So we're doing the light side right now. And mine says 34 waves. I don't know if that's a record. Probably not.
Yeah.
Because like he said, I'm kind of a lazy territory battler too. I have to be nudged by thank God for my guild officers.
Oh, you know what? Go Cubs from the GAC lab. That man is a beast. He's on every day. We need stuff in this sector, this sector, this sector. Do battles, do this, do that. And that man is a beast. And Go Cubs at the GAC lab. That man's a maniac. But
so Jack,
I will say for my guild, we're getting 32, 33 stars and about 30 Revis yards per go.
Well, do you know how to look at your waves, Logan?
Oh yeah, no, I know. I don't count them because in the first day, I don't sweat battles that much because even if everyone deploys, you're going to get 3 stars across the board. So to me, it's like the first wave is a day. I don't really have to sweat. It's really definitely the second day. I need to do battles. The second day I have to. And on the third. The fourth or fifth day, it's like, I mean, if you want to get your face Ed Norton curb stomped, then go ahead, do the battles. But you're probably going to lose.
So my answer, Jack replied, we're at 17 stars. We should finish up with 24, and we are 400 mil GP guild.
Dude, 24, that's not bad, man.
No, we had some real life. We had some real life stuff happen, and a couple people missed out on one of our first waves. And I think that took one of our stars that I know we normally get. I think the last one we finished at 25, 26 stars. So
I know you feel this way, but cherish that you're in your account is in that guild.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's better than my guild, and we've been together for a long time, and we're not quite 400 million. I don't know where we're at. I don't know if anyone in the chat. I guess I could look. But
so we do have another question though, and this one actually comes from Jack.
Very important. The most important question so far.
Oh, very, very important question. Logan, do you have enough gear hoarded for Jar Jar?
We'll wait.
You know, I'm going to do my best to formulate this response in a way that doesn't violate any guidelines, doesn't offend anyone, because normally I'd give 0
Zero fudge.
But if you'd caught an episode in the Old Man's Cantina, I already told you
He's ready.
that individual comes to the game, I'll go free to play. I'm done. I have enough gear ported for anybody but him, and I love how people try to put me on the spot, and because I feel very vulnerable right now. Yeah, I can't swear. I can't express myself the way that I normally would. I can't articulate things.
I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. I know that I help feed this. I'm gonna help you out. Jack,
I love colorful metaphors.
Jack, if you want his 100 and total % honest, to the point answer, you got to join us in the after show, bud.
Ooh,
you have to join us in the after show, and he'll actually be able to answer that.
Paul is teaching you good, man. That's a Paul move there.
But he did. So Jack did go on to say that we need something, and I actually agree with him, because it's been a while. We need a Celiac Xaereth tutorial for the new TB.
Yeah, for sure.
So Celiac Xaereth is more of a conquest guru.
Huh? It's kind of conquesty. The new one is
a little bit.
See, when it comes to news or strats that I need for conquest, Celiac Xaereth is second to none. Like, you cannot find a better guide and or news about conquest than her. I mean, she has got conquest on lockdown, and I have to say, some of the feats in this is it just me, or does this conquest seem a little grindier than usual?
I think the teams are harder. The stats are different. I think they're jacked up a little too much.
I like it's
them Jawas, man.
Dude, the one that got me was
defeat 50 enemies with Ewoks. Even at 10.2, 10.3 million, you have a better chance of becoming a Chinese jet pilot. It's not happening. I'm not beating them with Ewoks. Not happening.
So Jack did say he has a real question. Who do you guys like in the NFL Conference Championship games? Now, Bob, we already know yours. You're wearing the hat, even though
you guys know the truth. I don't care if he has one leg; he's better than your quarterback.
My team didn't make it. My team didn't make it, so I'm voting none. I'm not happy.
You got to pick one, Kane. That's not fun. You don't have to pick the Chiefs, but you got to pick one, and it can't be the Cincinnati Bengals.
I would like to see the Bengals win it, but that's not no. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with the Niners, and the whole reason that I even say the Niners is they haven't been to a Super Bowl since the 80s, early 90s.
Oh, since 3 years ago when the Chiefs beat them.
Yeah, I'm okay. Win a Super Bowl. They got to win it for it to matter.
Gotcha. And they are the underdogs, you know. So they have missed it. The last draft pick of this year is playing for them right now, and he's going off.
Can I have the floor?
No, it's just me and Kane that can talk sports.
That's nonsense.
It's you. It's you, man. Go ahead.
This is going to get typed up in the sports section of the Old Man's Cantina. I generally do NFL picks every week. I give an in-depth analysis of every game. my picks may not always be right, but I'll tell you what, my analysis of the NFL is dead on because I eat, breathe, and sleep the NFL.
Same.
For Eagles San Fran, I'm gonna go Eagles, and this is why. While San Fran is going to do their best to spread the field with the offensive weapons at their disposal, Jalen Hurts with the designed runs, there's only so much the San Francisco defense is going to be able to do. And I just feel that the experience level is going to become a factor. I do think Brock, because if you look at that game against Dallas, Brock Purdy dodged some bullets. I hate to say it, Dallas's defense showed up. Dak Prescott let that team down. The Dallas defense showed up like a championship team and almost picked off Brock Purdy twice. The ball was on their hands. That is not going to happen against Philly. While Dallas's defense may be better than Philly, they're going to study film. They're going to study tape. They're going to continue the plan with Jalen Hurts, spreading the field, designed runs, and it's going to give too much for San Fran to really worry about. And I'm going to go with Philly. Now, real quick, Cincinnati, Kansas City. Now, while I respect Bob and think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, dude, Joe Burrow's right behind you.
Yeah,
Joe
I agree
Burrow
with it.
has rebounded this season.
Chiefs are 0-3 against him.
He has the swag, and while
Don't give him that. He's so annoying with that
I know.
swag stuff. Get out of here.
While Patrick Mahomes' QBR in the pocket, while slightly lower, is still just as good as him rolling out of the pocket in terms of accuracy, QBR, and interception rate.
In the pocket, Mahomes is still number one in everything.
But the other problem is Travis Kelce is also on the injury report, so he's also banged up. And you know, Cincinnati is going to try to clog up the middle of the field and have Patrick Mahomes, while he stays in the pocket on a bad ankle, rely on his outside receivers who, after the departure of what's his face from Miami, it's just I'm not, and the fact that they're 3-0 against Kansas, I'm
Chiefs
going
beat themselves in those games. Each one of those games was 3 points, and it was because of a fumble of Travis Kelce. It was always a fluke.
But every time Cincinnati has played you, while the score has been close, the numbers have been not. Joe Burrow has outplayed Patrick Mahomes in all 3 games, and I think that's going to continue.
He doesn't play Mahomes on defense. He's 3-0 against the Chiefs defense, not against Mahomes. No, you're right. I mean, it could go anyway. I mean, I'm just tired of the anticipation. I'm ready for it to get.
So
Tyreek Hill, that was the. Yep.
All right. Closing thoughts for everybody.
Good show, guys. Always love hanging out with you guys. Look forward to it every other week. I need to start coming on with you guys on Tuesdays too, but I'm just so busy.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, if you folks want an unfiltered take on Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, where I'm not being beholden to certain forms of vocabulary, then every Tuesday there's the Old Man's Cantina, where when people ask me questions about Jar Jar, I can give you my honest opinion on that person. Anywho, I do want to say for everybody that is listening and staying with us, thank you. I know people get set on patterns, and Paul and Nev were a staple of this show, a pillar, and they did an amazing job. I couldn't even imagine to do what they did. The banter, how they did things. I loved, I don't know. I think the one thing that I loved about the Escape podcast when Paul and Nev did it is that I got to listen to an annoyed Brit be annoyed about SWGOH. And to me, that was like worth the price of admission. I hope you stick with us. There's more.
Paul tried to like tape up the like it's not
right.
bad. Paul would always try to half glass full kind of guy, and they just did great together. Yep.
I do. I hope you folks stick with us. I'm going to do my best to get some of the best guests and people to come on this show and talk about the game that we hate to love and love to hate. I want to thank my best friend, the Immortal Kane, and my new friend, Bob, who I've become quite fond of, doing this show with us. It is a blast. And it's not a blast. It is a privilege to sit here and entertain you folks. Like, even if we don't give you the best advice, even at the end of the show, you go, gosh darn it, I listened to this show and I don't know this counter. Then go to somebody else's channel. But if you want to be entertained, come here.
Or ask. Or ask, and we'll find out. We will definitely get you guys an answer.
And I'll give you a half answer. Censor.
Now, as always, I do have to mention,
gosh darn family shows.
Like, follow, subscribe, hit that little notification bell. That way you know whenever we go live every other week. Stay tuned for next Friday's Marvel Strike Force. Shout out to Bob on that one. And once again,
stay tuned for Marvel Strike Force. Those guys put out solid material on that game.
And once again, don't forget about us on the Old Man's Cantina. We stream every other Tuesday. We'll be coming at you next week, Tuesday night. If you want to find us on YouTube.
No. Hold on. We're changing case again. Paul says next Friday. You guys are doing this again next Friday.
Yes, we'll be the Old Man's Cantina on Tuesday, and we'll be the Escape Podcast Private Reserve next Friday.
Gosh dang it, I've got to figure out, and that was a barrage of words without an expletive. I got to find another guest. Okay,
we got this.
I can help you. I know a few people. They don't have to be the best. Well, no offense to anyone that comes on here. I don't.
Bring them in. We'll welcome. Open arms.
All right, we're running late. So, do you guys have anything else going on besides SWGOH going on in your guys' accounts?
I am going to be starting a playthrough / walkthrough on Elden Ring, doing a strict faith build. So
I'll be tuning in for that. I
haven't yet quite figured out what days I'm going to do that yet. So stay tuned.
In March, I'll be streaming Jedi Survivor.
Okay. I'm doing the usual grand arenas. My PC can't handle much anything else until I get a new one. But I am attempting to do Elder Scrolls Online. I'm back into it. I got a bunch of friends back into it. So I'm trying to stream that here in the future too. That's it for me.
All
right, fellas. Well, had a good time with you guys. Xaereth, thank you for coming on. Everyone in the chat, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you guys next weekend.
And for next all week. Of you battling on the holo tables, good night and good luck.
And be nice to each other, damn it. Kane, hit the button.
Hitting the button.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gotta be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.